Hey, hey, hey. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, amazingly enough, thegaminggang.com, which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. So welcome aboard. Tonight is Tuesday, November 14th, 2023. This is live stream number 986. If you're not overly familiar with this show, let me point out, super casual around here. Just hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news. And normally we'll take a first look at a game. Every once in a while I'll do a live review. But tonight, we're actually going to be diving on in for a first look at Among Cultists from Godot Games. So not only are we going to be looking at this core game, and I will say, this is a pretty hefty box. We're also going to take a peek at a trio of expansions for the game as well. So that is what's on the agenda for tonight. If you are tuning in live to catch the first look, do want to mention that we tackle the tabletop gaming news first around here. So it's probably going to be about 40 minutes or so into that unboxing and first look. So if you are watching live and this is, one of your first times visiting, kick back, relax, enjoy yourself. Come on, it's Tuesday. What else you got to do? There's no Monday Night Football. Not that was all that exciting a game last night, but that's okay. I had the Broncos. Anywho, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you will not find here on the YouTube channel. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Lastly, this is a live show, so that means there is chat available. It's not on screen. One of the ways I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. And you must be a subscriber to the channel for at least 48 hours before you can take part in chat. Yet another way I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But if you are watching, you are taking part in chat, by all means, feel free to say howdy. If you got a question, a comment, by all means, chime in. If there's something about Among Cultists you want a closer look at, by all means, let me know. So first, out the gate tonight in chat is the Motor City Madman himself. Yes, the Madman is with us, one of our chat moderators. Roger Perdome is here, as is Shaz, yet another of our chat moderators, Flaming Huron, and Kevin King, Matthew Blackwell, and Kevin R. Smith are also hanging with the gang tonight. Oh, and Kathy Evans just popped on in. Howdy, everybody. Yes, there's been a lot going on in the world of the Duct Tape Studios. I'll be discussing that after the news, but it is not good news. And strangely enough, I feel like I'm snake bit. This past week, it's just one thing after another. We'll discuss. Despite the computer problems still exist. So the dispatch really Could I pull it off without the other laptop? I could, but it would be a huge pain in the ass. I'll talk about that when we get into the random musings before our brief intermission. So let's jump on into the news, because making its way into stores this month from Arcane Wonders is Age of Wonders Planetfall. Here's what I know. The heyday of the Star Union has come to an end, setting off massive gravity bombs designed to create spatial rifts to new worlds led to the collapse, and many planets were cut off from the rest of the Empire. The surviving factions began gradually rebuilding civilization and rediscovering lost technology. Being once part of a single state, they'll have to meet again and find out who is worthy of succeeding the great power. You are the commander of one of the 6 surviving groups that have set out to explore the once abandoned parts of the Star Union. Your expedition will explore 7 planets in search of valuable resources and technology, battle hostile units, and seize landmarks. Will you be able to create a new world from the shards of the old empire? The game is played over 7 rounds, and a new planet is explored each round. Each player may conduct 2 explorations on every planet. The players will gain Empire points by defeating units, studying technology, claiming landmarks, and running operations on those planets. At the end of the game, players will score Empire points for meeting certain conditions listed on a particular goal sheet. Whoever scores the most Empire points, you guessed it, is the winner. Age of Wonders Planetfall is for 2 to 6 players, ages 12 and up, plays in around 20 to 40 minutes. It's going to carry an MSRP of $44.99 when it lands in stores November 29th. When I played Age of Wonders Planetfall, and I remember when it first came out, some of the reviews were relatively negative about it, and I gave it a shot, and I thought it was fine. I thought it was pretty good. I would take a guess they probably patched it to the point where it's probably far better than it was at release. Of course, I'm sure there was some DLC that came along for it also. Gotta say, I've played Age of Wonders 4. I got my best friend Elliot into playing it too. He really digs it. So I'm kind of curious how this will play out. It looks to be more of a card game than anything else. So pretty cool, pretty interesting. Might want to give it a peek. All right, so let's talk about some role-playing game news, because also shuffling into stores this month from my friends over at Free League Publishing is The Walking Dead Universe Starter Set. And here's the skinny. The Walking Dead has always been about characters facing impossible choices in an unforgiving world. With this game, you enter into the world of the dead and must face those choices head on. You can do this at any point in the timeline, encountering familiar faces and locations or new ones. But the hardest choice will always be the same. Who are you going to be? We have seen many stories set in the Walking Dead universe. Now it's time to see yours. The Walking Dead universe role-playing game challenges you to enter the unforgiving post-apocalyptic sandbox and learn how to survive and thrive in this new world order. Pushing the boundaries of the survival genre, each group can tailor their RPG experience to suit their own interests and playstyle. The core game is written by Nils Heinz and uses the Core D6 version of the acclaimed Year Zero engine. That's right, as seen in Alien, the role-playing game, Mutant Year Zero, and Forbidden Lands. It is, of course, uniquely adapted for The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead Universe role-playing game starter set will arrive in stores on November 28th. It's going to carry an MSRP of $39.99. So yes, we are going to be getting an opportunity to take a peek at this. Hopefully, Don't know at this moment, but I do know that this is coming my way. And I do have the PDFs because my friends at Free League Publishing already sent those along to me. So not only are we going to get the starter set arriving on the 28th, the core rule book is also going to come out on the 28th. The Madman says, I backed the Walking Dead role-playing game. I need to go through that PDF yet, but love that Free League makes the PDF available well before the physical copies are available. Yeah, that's kind of their thing, is they will actually release the PDFs of various games. A lot of times when they're taking pre-orders, they'll give you that PDF that day, even though you might be looking at 6 months before the book is physically going to arrive. So that is pretty interesting. There is also something hitting stores, I believe it was today, from Free League Publishing, which we're going to take a look at on Thursday because I've got a copy of it. So stay tuned. I will talk about that later in the show when I discuss what's coming up this week. Moving right along, the collector's edition of Doctors and Daleks will be arriving from Cubicle 7 Entertainment. Guess when? That's right, this month. Here's the scoop. Doctors and Daleks brings the epic adventures of the universe's most famous Time Lord to the world's most popular role-playing game. Well, maybe not so popular at the moment. We'll talk about that after the news. Running parallel to the award-winning Doctor Who the role-playing game, Doctors and Daleks is a new line of products that brings Doctor Who adventures to your table using 5th edition rules. The exclusive Doctors and Daleks Collector's Edition set contains the Player's Guide, the Keys of Scaravor, Alien Archive, and the Game Master's Screen. The 3 books are beautifully finished, featuring stylish artwork that is instantly recognizable as Doctors and Daleks, with spot UV highlights. While the book content remains the same as the standard editions, this exclusive collector's edition presents all 3 books, plus the Game Master Screen, in a stunning slipcase intricately designed to reflect the exterior of the Doctor's TARDIS. This slipcase set is going to be available on November 29th. It will carry an MSRP of $149.99. And I believe we'll have an opportunity to check out Doctors and Daleks as well. So looking forward to that. So that's pretty cool. I know I had talked to my friend T.S. Lukehart about some of the things that we're cooking. And yes, as I've mentioned previously, a vast majority of these things I cannot discuss. But one thing we did talk about was really having to delve into 5e mechanically to figure out how were they going to present the non-conflict, non-violent approach of the Doctor in 5e. And according to TS, he said they've actually done some pretty cool stuff. So I am curious. I would like to see that. Tessie Trekkie is with us in chat. Tessie Trekkie says that the Walking Dead universe role-playing game is awesome. They love the random walker appears from nowhere. Well, obviously. Geez, that's like a dozen times a season, right? Yes. On to the final news piece. Coming soon from Pinnacle Entertainment Group comes the Pathfinder 4 Savage Worlds Curse of the Crimson Throne box set. And I've got the dope. Only your heroes can rescue the Jewel of Varesia from the dangers threatening to tear it apart. The kings and queens of Corvosa have long ruled under the shadow of the Curse of the Crimson Throne, an infamous superstition claiming that no monarch of the city of Corvosa shall ever die of old age or produce an heir. Whether or not there is any truth to the legend of the curse, Corvosa's current king is but the latest victim to succumb to this foul legacy. Now the metropolis teeters on the edge of anarchy, and it falls to a band of new heroes to save Corvosa from the greatest threat it has ever known. Adventure through 6 books of shadowy intrigue, deadly plague, and foes from all sides using the Savage Worlds rule set. Between the machinations of crime lords, the harsh trials of the Shoanti barbarians, the undead legions of Kezavan, and the draconian fist of the queen, oh, that bitch. Damn you, queen! And your draconian fist! Can your party save Corvosa from ruin? The Curse of the Crimson Throne box set comes with everything you need for an unforgettable role-playing experience. In addition to the 6 softcover books of the adventure path, you'll also get the Guide to Corvosa, which details everything you need to know about the culture, geography, and peoples of the port city. You also get a full-color Crimson Throne poster map to track your party's adventures across this savage and exciting tale. New adversary cards just for Curse of the Crimson Throne keep stats for important and useful enemies right at your fingertips, while the Crimson Throne handouts give your players tangible clues to uncover the sinister secrets of this fan-favorite epic. Even use the Harrow deck to perform a mystical harrowing that speaks to the past, present, and future of your heroes. These tellings grant special benefits to the players and even foreshadow moments where each character serves as the chosen servant of destiny. The Pathfinder for Savage Worlds Curse of the Crimson Throne box set, say that 5 times fast, with PDFs, will carry an MSRP of $99.99, or you can grab just the PDF alone, the entire box set in PDF, or the vast majority of it in PDF, from Pinnacle Entertainment Group for $69.99. Do want to point out the various books and accessories which are in this box set are also available separately in PDF over at Drive-Thru RPG. Do want to point out that MSRP of $99.99 might throw some people out there, but if you think about it, just the softcover books for this adventure path, back in the day, I believe they would have gone for about $19.99, because I think that was the Adventure Path chapter pricing from Paizo Inc. So that 6-part Adventure Path, if you had just bought the softcover books for Pathfinder, because this is a 1E Pathfinder adventure, it would have run you $120. So $99.99 gets you those books. There's another book, which is like the Guide to Corvosa. There's the Harrow deck. There's a few other decks as well. Pretty interesting. I got to be honest, though. This was supposed to arrive in October. It is not out yet. So, interesting. So I'm thinking maybe before the holiday, before the winter holidays, or maybe Q1 of next year. So there is that. Very nice, very nice. And I got to say, I have been reading Savage World stuff. Yes, we'll talk about that in just a bit. Hector Strafford is with us, a very good friend of the show. I will talk about that in just a few moments. Steve Bernier is also with us. So welcome, everybody. Kevin R. Smith says, yep, that Kickstarter has been delayed. They're just now getting around to shipping the advanced player's guide from it. I would like to see the advanced player's guide for Savage Pathfinder. Yes. All right, so that is it for the news tonight. Of course, I was just talking about Drive-Thru RPG. Don't forget, the gaming gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to visit, say, Drive-Thru RPG or Dungeon Masters Guild or Storyteller's Vault, Wargame Vault, what have you, by all means, please stop by thegaminggang.com. First, click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a small portion of that sale. And all those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do go a long way, a long, long way to keeping thegaminggang.com around. Also, if you like this video, if you dig the channel, if you find thegaminggang.com to be a valuable resource, hell, if you just like what we do, you can always stop by paypal.me/thegaminggang and make a small donation. Hell, you can buy me a 2-liter bottle of soda. And very recently, the Madman and Roger Perdome stopped by paypal.me/thegaminggang and made not small donations. So a big thank you very much. All right, so as I opened the show, I was talking about how I am seemingly snake bitten this past week. So first off the bat, after I finished up the show on Thursday, I went upstairs because obviously enough, the Duct Tape Studios is part of our basement here. So, although when people come downstairs, they're kind of surprised. They're like, wow, that actually does kind of look like a studio. I'm like, well, yeah, but it is an unfinished basement. So anyway, I head upstairs and I notice something's up with my laptop. And I'm like, what the? So the front of the laptop had split open. So there was like a gap like this, about half of the actual laptop. It's like, what the hell is this? I'm like, did a screw or something break? What the hell, right? And the funny thing is, I'd actually booted up the laptop and I started looking at something and I was like, what the hell is this? I'm like, why isn't this booting up? I'm like, come on, what the hell? So yes, Tessie Trekkie, thank you. Yes, Daniel Silverthorne is with us in chat. Yes, expanding battery, that is exactly what it was. Problem is, battery didn't just expand, it split. So some of the innards got onto the motherboard. So that laptop is effectively a complete loss. Oh, and of course, I did open it up, and it was, I have had this laptop for about 4 years, and I did pick it up from a Black Friday deal, which I had found on slickdeals.net. And it was back when Walmart was looking to get into like gaming laptops. So they had it's Evo or Evu, it's EVOO. So anyway, so I had ordered it, and of course, you know, this company, good luck in finding any sort of support from them, because I think Walmart still sells some of their stuff, but actually, I don't think it's through Walmart now. Anyway, so I did open up the computer, and of course, it was one of these laptops where the battery can't like be replaced. I hate how some of these laptops are designed these days, where it's like, oh well, you know, just like an iPhone, right? That battery craps out on you. Well, you can send it in and pay top dollar to have somebody replace that battery, or toss it and get a new one, right? So anyway, problem is, I use that laptop for a vast majority of what goes on with the gaming gang. So the reason is that if you're not aware of this, I care for my 87-year-old dad. Not that he's an invalid or anything like that, right? Okay, just let's make sure we get that straight. But still, I can't spend a lot of time down here in the duct tape studios, I guess I always call it. I just can't. So could I possibly utilize the computer that's being used for the show right now? Probably. The specs are not the same as the laptop was. Could I get away with it? Maybe. I don't know. I haven't really played around with it yet. But the thing is, I can't spend that kind of time down here. And the other thing, too, is it gets really cold down here in the duct tape studios during the winter. There are times where I have done the show where I am amazed that I do not have condensation in front of me as I'm doing the show. So, Tessie Trekkie says, non-replaceable batteries are the bane of my existence. He says from an iPhone which doesn't have a replaceable battery. Yes. Flaming Heron points out technology is not made to last, unfortunately. Not anymore. Everything is planned obsolescence. Tessie Trekkie said they had a laptop catch fire at work from a swelling battery. That's why I made sure that I opened it up. And that battery had actually made one of the screws that holds it closed actually break through the molding or whatever, the casing, I guess I'll say. So I was like, huh. So I was taking a look at specs for a replacement laptop, and we're looking about $1,000. That's with Black Friday specials. So there is that. But I do have to send out a big thank you because Hector Strafford actually donated $100 towards a new laptop. Zoinks! And he did it through YouTube. And what I would say, and I mean, thank you so very much, Hector. It is really, really appreciated. Thank you very kindly. What I would mention for those of you out there who might have some interest in helping out to pick up a new laptop, because the reality is there's no way I can continue the gaming gang long term without a laptop. Just, I can't. And I don't have the funds to shell out for a brand new laptop at the current moment. But anyway, what I was going to say is any of you out there utilizing the paypal.me/thegaminggang, if you're going to make any sort of donation, anything like that, please use that because they'll take a far smaller percentage than YouTube will or Google, I guess. So Flaming Heron points out, don't do YouTube. Google doesn't need your money. Anyway, so Hector points out processor technology has advanced a lot in the last 20 years. Battery technology has not. No, really haven't. So anyway, so I got all that bad news. Then I wake up Friday morning, and I wrenched my back. I don't know if I had done it in my sleep or I did it when I was getting up. Thankfully, I didn't throw my back out like I did one time a few years ago where the pain actually drove me to the floor. I could not stand. And for like the first 2 days, I couldn't even stand straight. I'd stand like hunched over. And this is back when I actually used to deliver RVs around the country. And I had to deliver something. I had to go pick something up. So that was not pleasant. Sitting driving was bearable, but having to get out and get fuel and, go grab something to eat and oh my gosh, it was bad. So we've got that. Tessie Trek said, just pop something through PayPal. Thank you very much, Tessie Trekkie. It is much appreciated. What I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to actually roll out another game sale, which, funny enough, I had bounced around doing for Extra Life. Guess can't do that now. I guess we're going to have to do it towards the laptop. But I'm hoping to maybe get something out there next week. But got to keep in mind, most of the games are the same games that were in the last sale. So if you didn't buy them then, I don't know if you're interested in buying them now. Then the last thing is, yesterday I found out I need to get a new starter for my car. It's like, why? Why? Yeah. Alrighty. All right. Madman points out they're going to send a little through PayPal tonight to help as well. Thank you very, very much. And I've had people saying, oh, you should crowdsource it. And I was like, okay, isn't crowdsourcing the same thing as crowdfunding? Isn't that sort of, what? It's like, I said, yeah, I feel weird. I would feel weird doing like a GoFundMe or anything along those lines, because I've taken great pride to this point of actually only having done one Kickstarter once. That was about 11 years ago or so. So Scott B. Smith is with us in chat, also pointing out they made a donation. Thank you very much. Very much appreciated. So, I mean, I don't know. To me, I find it embarrassing. I do. I do. I find it embarrassing where it's like, Anyway, thank you to all of you out there. And my apologies for, wasting time talking about this kind of stuff. But you know me, I'm very transparent about what's going on. Anyway, also wanted to mention, I saw that I guess sales numbers for Dungeons and Dragons are down. Wonder why. You may have checked out my review for Planescape Adventures in the Multiverse. If you have seen my review, then you may know why these sales numbers for Dungeons and Dragons are down. I will not ruin the surprises of that review. If you have not watched it, by all means, check it out. I can tell you this much, and yes, I completely understand. The numbers for that video are going to be low because of how long it took for me to actually get a review copy of it. Scott B. Smith says, tiny maps. Yes, I did mention that in my review. Kind of let's make sure that we make the maps and everything pretty small. Kind of force everybody into, going the digital route. Flaming Heron says, a surprise for a WotC release? How unsurprising. Yes. So Kevin R. Smith said, all this in spite of Wizards of the Coast ham-fisted attempts at PR control. Yep. Tessie Trek says that they disagree with my review, but they are a huge Planescape fanboy. Well, that's okay. There is absolutely no way you can convince me that adventure is not hot trash. That is by far one of the worst Dungeons and Dragons adventures I have ever encountered from Wizards of the Coast. Absolutely no doubt about that. So, I mean, I even said that I thought the source book itself, I liked it. I thought it was fine. I would have given, if it was just that, it would probably been like, 7 out of 10 sort of thing. The best year, I think, is just nothing too thrilling there. In fact, it felt very rushed as far as, there's some stuff that just has a paragraph of information about it. Then you get a stat block and you're looking at it. But this is a problem with a lot of role-playing games these days where it's sort of like, you figure out how to utilize these things at your game table in your adventures. We're busy. That's why the Monsters Know What They're Doing is so popular, and there was a sequel to it. I've read the first book. I have not read the sequel, but I like the first book. But yeah, you wouldn't know how to, as a game master, dungeon master, whatever you consider it, you wouldn't know how to run these different types of creatures, even though the Monsters Know What They're Doing is sort of derived from the stat blocks. So there's kind of some guessing going on there, but at least it's something, right? But the reality is, if you just looked at stat blocks for goblins, kobolds, we'll throw orcs in there, right? Hobgoblins, bugbears. If you just went with what's in the monster manual, you'd be like, okay, like goblins and kobolds, really much difference there? There should be a huge difference. So, because kobolds are supposed to be cowardly, unless, they've got the drop on you and they have you tremendously outnumbered, where goblins are just supposed to be dense enough to think that they've got a chance against you. So Madman says, they haven't seen the review yet, but plan to soon. Can't wait to see exactly what I expected from it. So Kevin R. Smith says, of course, Wizards of the Coast will take this as evidence that there's no money to be made in books and the digital revolution must go faster. Oh, I'm sure. I am sure that is probably the case. Oh, well. Anyway, so I ran across that today. I mean, and as I mentioned in the review, I don't expect Wizards of the Coast to continue sending me review copies of stuff. But you know what? It's not my fault, right? So I'm not the one creating this stuff. So even though Tessie Trekkie is satisfied with their purchase, and I'm glad to hear that, I am. And something I actually throw into the video, because I've had people email me, I've had people comment about how come my reviews for Dungeons and Dragons stuff tends to be radically different than many of the outlets out there who cover Dungeons and Dragons. And I'm not trying to call anybody out here or say, oh, they're shills, oh, they're sycophants. I don't know. But one thing I do know is a lot of those outlets only cover Dungeons and Dragons. Some of them only cover releases from Wizards of the Coast. So here, you already know, we tackle tons of publishers, a vast number of different systems. So I have exposure to a lot of other stuff. So, if you grow up eating only gruel, then you think, gruel's pretty good. Yeah, I like this. Flaming Aaron says, because Jeff isn't a shill. I am not. I am not. I say it all the time. My responsibility is not to the publishers. My responsibility is to you, Tom, to the viewers on this channel. That's where my responsibility lies, is to provide you with my honest opinion. Once again, it is simply an opinion. All that said, let's get ready to kick back. We are going to be taking a look at Among Cultists. But first, I think it's time for a brief intermission.
Well, we can't just drift here forever.
Let's go, gang.
Sounds good, Charlie. Why is it yellow?
You're behaving like a pack of people.
This is the last straw.
Okay. All right, fellas. Hold it down.
Well, this is a nice way to wind up.
Wherefore art thou, Romeo, and whereof is my Wilkins instant coffee?
The coffee's all gone.
Well, so am I.
Hi, I'm Chili Dilly, the personality pickle. Packed in a jar for the freshest flavor. Served cold in a sack for you to savor. So dainty to eat, no muss, no fuss. An ideal snack for all of us. Crisp, tender, and tasty with a bit of spice. Buy one now. Taste how nice. Snack bar clerks will knock themselves silly, speeding your order for a real Chili Dilly.
Hopefully none of you were doing any drugs prior to this show starting, because that first commercial probably had you freaking out. Ah, spiders! All over my skin! Kevin King had pointed out, at least with the new Dragonlance, you didn't have to play Waterboy to the Hickman's characters. You know, the funny thing is, I never reviewed that board game that came with like the collector's edition or whatever, because it was awful. Not only was it an awful board game, because it was supposed to be, oh, you could use that for the big battles during the campaign for Dragonlance. It was just so lackluster in just visual style. It was sort of like, really? And it was designed by, if I remember correctly, I think it was Rob Davio. And I have found in my personal experience, his designs are very hit or miss. And when they miss hard. So, alrighty, tonight we are going to dive in and take a first look at Among Cultists from Godot Games. It is designed by Stefan Godot. This core game is for 4 to 8 players, ages 14 and up, plays in around 45 to 90 minutes, and will carry an MSRP of approximately $59.99. So we're also going to look at a trio of expansions as well. And I do believe the first two we'll take a look at will carry MSRPs of approximately $29.99. The third one, I don't know, because I honestly don't think that would be the MSRP on the third one we're going to look at. Now, I have been in contact with Godot Games because I couldn't find any MSRP information about these. They gave me the MSRPs in euros. So usually we've got about a 1-to-1 on the exchange rate. So could be a little less, could be a little more. So there is that. All righty. So let's swing on over to the other camera, because here I've got Among Cultists. Do want to mention before we dive on in, the fine folks over at Godot Games were kind enough to provide me with these review copies, but neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the gaming gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this first look with you. These days, it's very important that you know that. All right, let's take a look at the back here. So this is a social deduction game. You play investigators of M, a secret society. Prevent the ritual of a sinister cult before a dormant evil is awakened. But beware, cultists are already among us. So we've got our hidden traitor mechanic in this. So this includes social deduction, secret roles, deduction/investigation, and there is no player elimination. Scott B. Smith says their journey into fantasy literature began with a couple of Dragonlance novels, so it holds a special place in their heart. I believe, if I remember correctly, the first fantasy book I read would have been The Hobbit. And the funny thing is, I was reading horror, like Stephen King, Peter Straub, long before I started getting into fantasy. And I think I've pointed out before that I read The Stand when it first came out, and I think I was in, I don't know, 5th grade, maybe 6th grade. So I did my, we were still doing book reports in that grade, right? So I did a book report on The Stand. Other people were doing Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew, and I'm doing The Stand. Yes, I have been a reader for a vast, vast majority of my life. And as a kid, I always read above my grade. I was in grammar school reading because we used to have these different tests that we would get. I was reading at college level when we took those aptitude tests. Mayman says, I like the hidden traitor component more if there's not necessarily a traitor. Makes it more interesting, in his opinion. Yeah, I agree with you on that. Right, so we've got rule books in various languages here. There we go. Here's English. So we've got 5 rule books. And it looks like we've got some punch boards and some stickers that no doubt are going to go on some pawns of some sort. So let's scoot this out of the way for right this moment. All right, so let's take a look at the rule book. It's a pretty big box, pretty hefty box. You know what? Let's see if I can move it over to here. There we go. That's better. That's better. You know, one of the games I found really interesting that you may recall my review of that kind of has a similar vibe to it, although everybody's a cultist in it. Anybody remember Cults of the Deep? I did the Kickstarter preview for that and then actually received the final product. I thought that was a cool game. I thought it was a really cool game. Bad Omens. Good grief. Finally, you're here. The echo of his voice resounded through the hallway like a greeting from another world. The skinny director looked at his golden pocket watch with a slightly shaking hand while he wiped his sweaty forehead with a handkerchief. I don't know. I don't know how much I like this fiction so far. How bad is it? The man in the brown trench coat with the pitch black eye patch asked in the doorway of the foyer. As he surveyed the room, which was messed up with mysterious runes, only to answer the question for himself afterwards. My God, is that a run-on sentence? I don't think English is the first language of the game designer. I see. Significantly worse than expected. Does it look like that everywhere around here? Yes, every one of them. What is the meaning of all this, Gomery? What is it those cultists want? They're insane. The man with the eye patch went over to a dresser behind the director and poured himself a whiskey in a lead crystal glass. Too many details here. We don't need to know that the glass is lead crystal. Come on, bust out on writing from Stephen King. Some good tips there. It's part of an arcane ritual. We must stop it tonight, or they will awaken something unimaginable from its eternal sleep. Gather everyone in the central corridor immediately before it's too late. Sure, I'll do whatever you want, Gomery, but please, save the university. I'm informing all members of the secret society. Gomery emptied the glass in a single gulp without turning a hair, then put it back upside down on the dresser, above which pentagrams in blood-red color watched ominously. After that, leave the university. Who knows what else will happen tonight? We cannot guarantee your safety. Among Cultists is a deduction game for 4 to 8 players with hidden agendas for 14 years and up, a duration of about 45 to 90 minutes. At the start of the game, you'll be assigned random roles and teams. As an investigator of the secret society, you will try to thwart the cultists' dark ritual by identifying and eliminating them before they can finish it. You'd better avoid other characters because every encounter could be your last. The goal of the traitors is to get rid of the investigators. Only if you manage to expose all the cultists or restore enough rooms before time runs out can you save the venerable university. But be careful, they are already among you, and the killing has long since begun. So as investigators, you win within 10 rounds if you reach a certain number of victory points or have identified all the cultists and eliminated them by majority vote or assassin attack. As cultists, you win if you kill a certain number of investigators, successfully sabotage the investigators and prevented them from scoring the required victory points, or you identify the seer at the end of the game, if there's any in the game, regardless of how the game turned out for the investigators. So 4 to 6 players, 1 cultist, 7 or 8 players, 2 cultists. But I wonder if the cultists actually know who they are. The Madman says, Bad Omens. Actually, I've been enjoying Good Omens with David Tennant. Yes, that's right. Season 2. Kevin R. Smith says, yep, looks like the Godot Games website is in German. So, main game concepts, teams, roles, and characters. States. Your character has one of 2 states, alive or dead. Guest characters can die in this game, but they are not eliminated and may continue playing until the end of the game. Your character is considered alive until their death is confirmed. For example, after a certain action. Once dead, a character becomes a ghost, which is then its living counterpart. Since cards representing your character's state are played face down, your character can be dead without knowing it, dead and loving it, like Dracula. Even at the beginning of the game. So you could start the game being dead. Okay. Alrighty then. So we have encounters, hiding and revealing information. So we've got a breakdown of the various different cards, tokens. First player marker is a pocket knife. Character discs, character cards. We have map parts. I believe that's what the 2 of the expansions have, are new maps, new locations. So preparing your first game. Take cards for the investigator and cultist decks according to your player count. Shuffle the routes and lay them face down, one next to the other. Then shuffle the cards for each investigator and cultist deck separately and place one pile face down on top of each route card laid out. Don't assign the decks to players yet, but remember the cultist decks, or deck, depending on how many cultists you've got. Put one matching roll marker face up on each deck. Tentacles for cultists and M symbol for investigators. That's for 4. Oh, I'm sorry. That's for 5, 6, and 8 players. So we do have different victory conditions according to the player count. So here's the play area. This is the, looks like it's the university there. So we have a night phase is when you, I guess, learn your roles. Playing the game, the golden rules. In general, you may talk about anything except about your true affiliation and role. However, you may always claim to belong to a certain side or not, and doubt the statements of the other players. So I'm kind of curious here. It says, so you can't talk about anything regarding your true team affiliation and role. So wouldn't that mean that people can figure out what your affiliation is and what your role is because you're not talking about it? Kind of weird. You can't talk about the number of investigators you've murdered as cultists. You may not show each other anything. Roots, cards in hand, etc. A movement must never end where it started. To play cards, you must always look at the cards beforehand. It is not allowed to just play the card blindly because of the back of the card. This would make it too hard for the cultists. This is also the reason why the hand cards are shuffled in the setup. So we have 10 rounds consisting of 4 phases: movement phase, event phase, action phase, and cleanup phase. So you can perform 1 movement up to 3 movement points to move your character between rooms and hallways. We have routes. If you have an investigator, your personal route or route, however you'd like to pronounce it, which you receive at the beginning of the game, tells you on which round you can use the effects of which rooms. You may usually choose from 2 or more available rooms each round, the effects of which may use in the action phase. Okay. So that's kind of trying to steer you in certain directions of movement. I wonder if that's simply so that all the investigators and cultists all like gathered up in one area. So triggering an event, both during and at the end of your movement, an encounter may be triggered. If you are in a room or a hallway with at least one other living character, also before reaching your final location, check the table to see if an encounter is triggered. There are exactly 2? Yes. 3 or more? No. If the power supply is on. If the power supply is off, 2 or more triggers an encounter. Then we have event phase. Draw 1 event token from the bag, immediately resolve its effect, then place it on the corresponding round number hour on the clock. Proceed to the action phase. So here we have the actions. You may perform exactly 1 character action or 1 room action. Character actions: check a state, secure a hallway, fight a cultist, scare away the fisherman, damn you fishermen, get out of here, or assassinate a character. Room actions: fill the room deck, check a room, initiate a vote, use the camera, restart the power supply, close the portal. So you can restart the power supply from any room? I don't know. Then we got the cleanup phase. So it's talking about in a game with 46 players. Looks like the number of players really does change some of the aspects of the game. So here we get a breakdown of the different actions. Initiate a vote. Start an open discussion. Don't forget the golden rules. In some circumstances, it may be useful to run a countdown. Feel free to choose whatever works best. After you've exchanged your brazen allegations, outrageous accusations, and professions of innocence, proceed to a blind vote. Everyone closes their eyes, then point to a character to be eliminated. Those who wish to abstain from voting keep their fist closed. The initiator of the vote counts to 3, then you open your eyes. If the character gets a simple majority and there are less abstained votes, that character is eliminated. Flip their character disc and card to the dead side. You're dead to me. Scott B. Smith says, you can't talk about Bruno. So talking about how to vote people off the island. You can restart the power supply if you're in the red room, the security room, and the power supply is off. Close the portal. You and one other living character are standing in the green room while the portal is open. So we have privileges of the living and the dead. Okie doke. So we've got some rules to adjust the complexity. Looks like we've got some variants. Looks like we've got an AI that can be used for 4 and 6 players. And a description of our different events. All right. And then our roles. So we've got Investigator, Radiant Beauty, Infected, Super Ghost, who rides around in a supercar, Mechanic, Cultist, Greenhorn, Butterfingers, Crybaby, Firestarter. Okay, so these are all cultists. And then we've also got the Assassin and the Seer. And it gives us a recommended player count. So for an Assassin, you should have 7 or 8 players. All right, so once again, we've got these stickers to put on our wooden tokens. Got some punch boards. Looks like quite a few. Oh yeah, we got quite a few punch boards here. So this is our clock. That's our first player token. That's pretty, I mean, that's about the size of a pocket knife, really. And dual-sided, yes, they are. And nicely cut, because that just popped right on out. Here we've got our character cards. Dual-sided. And some more characters. The last expansion we're going to take a peek at actually has blank photos so that the players can actually put their photo in. I think that's what it is. All right, so here we've got, these are the different areas of the board. I believe we have 6 of these representing the university. So we've got that. And looks as if each side is identical. It's like the cafeteria. Classroom, or right there. It's like we've got the shore of a lake. Oh, well, I think, is this where the, no, actually, I think it's the green room where the portal opens up. Layout looks pretty cool. Reminds me a little bit of Mansions of Madness. So that is the logo of your investigation society, your secret society. Looks like that's the library here. There is our security room with the power. Looks like this is our round tracker. So if it's 4 or 5 players, you're looking at 10 rounds. 6 or 7, 12 rounds. And then 8 players, 13 rounds. I don't know why we've got the 14 there. Maybe it's a variant. All right. And then we have the different discs here. I think these might be the events. This might be the event discs. Maybe not. Right, so those are the punch boards. Oh, wow. Got like hockey pucks. These are the wooden discs for the characters. Huh, wow. I wasn't expecting it that big. Lightweight wood. A drawstring bag for our events that we're going to draw randomly. Fleming Heron says, you're not going to be losing those discs. Well, if you do, you can just substitute a hockey puck. All right, let's see what we've got. So we've got some envelopes. Must be for secret information. Actually, a couple more of these. Some decks of cards, some baggies. We've got for the dial, to hold the dial together for clock. I'll put these back, and then we will look at these cards. This is pretty interesting. I got to say, you don't have too many games out there that play 8 players. That's for sure. So these cards do have a linen finish. So these are health cards. It looks like taking somebody's pulse. And they are all identical. So I would take a guess. Maybe these are your hit points, your health points. You get maybe so many of them, depending on what character you've got. So these all have that secret society. So these are the investigator cards. And they are all identical. Well, they're not all identical. We've got some check marks and we've got some. But I think, no, those are still the secret society cards, the investigator cards. These should be the cultists. So this is the cultist deck. Oh, so it's just more of these. Okay, got it. So we have this symbol here. I was going to say, I thought I saw something else. So then we've got this. So that is all one deck. Looks like this for the ghost, right? Because it's like, oh, I'm taking the ghost's pulse. So I think your hand would go right through that. Just got a few of those. These are those root cards for each of the players. Guess I got them upside down, like so. Okay. We've got a little victory card so you can take a little selfie. Flaming Heron says, I asked for a second opinion if they were checking my pulse as a ghost. So here's team investigators. And the cultists have won. It might be a team of one. All right. Then we've got these cards. So as you can see, this is language independent. Just have the various different symbols and that. All right, so we've got the various different cards. We've got the big wooden discs. We've got all of these punch boards. The stickers for the wooden discs. The various languages for the rule books. And that is what we find when we take everything from Among Cultists outside the box, take a first look. So there we have that. As I mentioned, I've got 3 expansions we're going to be taking a look at. I'll get this out of the way. Of course, I will have a review of Among Cultists in the future. I have heard that I think Tom Vassell did a review of it, and he liked it. So there is that. Okay, we've got Mountains of Chaos and Down into the Abyss. So let's take a look at Mountains of Chaos. Want to get more out of Among Cultists? Go deep underground into an abandoned mine with elevators on this new map. Or spice up your game session with the optional Professions module. Okay. Strangely, these box tops are not lined up correctly. So it should be that way. All right, so looks like we've got all the languages in one rule book. So let's take a peek here. So this includes 6 double-sided map parts for 3 map variants, a new event token, 5 profession tokens, 8 detective support tokens, 2 elevator tokens, and a revolving door token. So showing us how to set this up. Then how to set up the revolving door and the elevators. So these are some rule changes. So the professions we've got: mayor, detective and informant, exorcist, profiler, and saboteur. And that is the extent of the special features and rule changes. So we've got that. And we've got quite a few punch boards here, because that's essentially got 6 new map pieces, some new tokens as well. So a lot of blood splattered on the floor there. That's kind of cool. There's the green room where the portal opens up. It's got this creature emerging. So it appears that unlike the university, which I think the university has kind of a little bit of a random setup, this has a specific setup because we have parts of the rooms on different boards, which I mean, it's fun. I'm just pointing it out. So there's the rest of that creature. Although, strangely enough, I don't know, I guess it's okay. For a second, I was going to say, are these cut wrong? So I see the eye, and I saw the eye there, and I was like, wait a second. But no, it's the whole eye is on that. So there is a little bit of an overlap of the graphics. So that when these are cut, when you punch them out, they will fit together and look right. So here's our security room. So it appears that our room actions and things like that have stayed the same for this expansion. It's just essentially a new locale and the optional professions. And then I guess that's the creature if the portal remains open. All right. So this is Mountains of Chaos for Among Cultists. Then we've got Down into the Abyss. It says, want to get more out of Among Cultists? Forget about vacation feelings on the new map. The varying obstacles will drive you crazy. Tentacles ahoy! So we have, I guess, new rules for obstacles. Maybe boats. Let's take a look here. So we've got another 6-piece map, 2 boat tokens, 4 tentacle blockades, 5 tentacle tokens, 6 new role markers, and 2 outage tokens. So special features and rule changes. We have outer bridges, boats, and unsafe passage deck. So taking a boat or walking on one of the outer bridges is not without danger. The evil that slumbers in the depths hears the paddle movements and the creak of bridge piers, and sometimes abruptly grabs the bypassers. Whenever you enter an outer bridge or use a boat, reveal 1 card from the unsafe passage deck and resolve it. Success, nothing happens. Failure, reveal 1 tentacle token and resolve it. Sabotage, reveal 2 tentacle tokens and resolve both. So you can use a boat, talking about docks. So character action is fill the unsafe passage deck. We have a lightning strike, the fisherman again. Dun, dun, dun. New roles. So we've got a couple of snitches, a kind soul, a sleeper, and a yellow traitor. It says you count as a distinct team with its own affiliation. Since you are not an investigator, you may ignore your route as long as you are Team Yellow. You win immediately if you gain the majority in a vote and thus become a ghost. If you are found dead, your loyalty changes to investigators, and you can still try to win the game with them. Okay. Well. All right, so let's see what we've got here. So I think we've got a little deck of cards. Oh no, it looks like we've got a deck of tiles. All right, so here we have, well, looks like we've got a carpet or something. Looks like it's Cthulhu. That is the portal room. So we've got that. I definitely like the graphics. I think the graphics are well done. And once again, if you're an investigator, you have your root card that you're going to be utilizing. That's right. We've got our turn tracker. So it looks like we've got a couple of locations with power sources. So here are boats. I believe these are our occupations, power, and then these, it looks like these are our unsafe passage. So there are 5 of those that will shuffle up. And then depending on where you're at, it's going to tell you what you need. Huh, okay, that's cool. So this for Among Cultists. And then we'll take a look at the final expansion, which is smaller. It's a small box. Your party in the game. So as I mentioned, I believe this has the character cards, but they're designed so you can put a picture of the players on them. So we've got new discs. So we have new stickers, which are blank here, except for these icons. And then here we've got the customizable boards. So this is cultist. That should be investigator, right? And I would think we have 8. There we go. Cool. All right. I was not expecting more of these in it. That's cool. And we've got enough for each side and a couple of spares on these stickers. And this is the Your Party in the Game expansion for Among Cultists. So stay tuned. I will have coverage of Among Cultists with my review in the future. And once again, big thank you to the fine folks over at Godot Games for sending along these review copies. All righty then. So you might be curious, what's cooking the rest of the week here on the Dispatch? Well, tomorrow we're going to do a War Game Wednesday. That's right. We're going to take a look at Downfall, Conquest of the Third Reich from GMT Games. This is originally designed by the late, great Chad Jensen. So we are going to take a peek at this on tomorrow's show. And then earlier, I had mentioned that there was a release from Freely Publishing, which hit stores today. We're going to take a look at that on Thursday. It is The One Ring, Tales from the Lost Lands. Yes, lands. Lone Lands, sorry. Tales from the Lone Lands. So we will take a look at this on Thursday's show. So Madman says, Wargame Wednesday. Yes. Yep. And I actually have a few reviews that are in the can already. So without that laptop, I do have a little bit of content I can still float out there. Not a lot, but a little. And you may have missed it, but I did share a review earlier today. I will be sharing another review in the early morning tomorrow. Anyway, that is it for this time out. If you liked the video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell. It'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings at 7 p.m. Central right here on YouTube. It'll also inform you when I upload other videos, such as today's review of Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, The Imperial Zoo from Cubicle 7 Entertainment. Remember, I told you we were going to have a Cubicle 7 week. Guess what this is? Just not on the show. It's just reviews that I'm uploading. And of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you will not find here on the YouTube channel. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. If you were watching live, thank you very much. If you're watching live and took part in chat, big tip of the cap, because not only are you keeping me company, but you're keeping each other company while I'm doing a first look at a board game or paging through a role-playing game book. Thank you very much. Of course, I know a lot of you out there, you don't have an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. Thank you very kindly for taking time out to watch any of the videos here on the channel. Everybody enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it is in your neck of the woods. I will be back tomorrow. And as always, I certainly hope all of you out there get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.